Hello, guys. Welcome to my new channel, Grow Cash Sky, where we will be focusing on your skills, growth, and career. So, I've been with site merchandising for a very long time now, and I thought I'll start my channel and my training with merchandising itself because that is something that kind of excites me, and I would love the world to know like what merchandising really means because there are a lot of misconceptions about merchandising, or rather a different understanding which I would like to kind of unify and bring it into one place, right? So without any further ado, I would like to just start off what actually merchandising means. Now, most of you might know bits and pieces of what merchandising is, or rather a different understanding, but it actually is a strategic way of planning products, a certain way of presenting them, and then promoting them to drive sales or conversions, right? So, all of these three P's, which is planning, promotion, and presentation, combine merchandising, and then you drive your sales through that. Now, merchandising is both art and science, right? So it involves four important questions: what products you want to show, where do you want to show them, how do you want to show them, and then when do you want to promote them. So it's all about the place, the location, the way, and the timing, and the right people to whom you want to show those products to in order to succeed in your sales, right? So all of these important principles kind of summarize what merchandising is. Now, merchandising can be seen in different contexts. One context is, of course, the retail or store experience, and the other context is, of course, the digital or site experience, right? In retail or store experiences, you might see merchandising in terms of product placement on shelves, visual displays, mannequins, offers, signages, or store layout. Now we'll talk more about this in terms of the real life, because you might start seeing stores that you visit in a very different way after you understand what merchandising is, and then you might be like, this is what merchandising is. And that's when you will start loving the way to shop, or rather you might start relating to what exactly is making you buy that certain product, right? And in terms of the site experience, we might see certain components on the website and in the app, like homepage banners, the way the category is sorted, for example, using keywords like new, trending, bestsellers, and then the product ranking and recommendations, which are kind of driven through certain strategies of the brands and also using AI in the current world. And then comes the filters, the search results, and the promotions that are used as an additional layer, right? Now, why does merchandising matter? Now, merchandising can be divided into two parts, which I've done based on my understanding, which can be good merchandising or bad merchandising. Ideally, there is no bad merchandising, but the merchandising that really doesn't drive sales, which is why I term it as bad merchandising, right? It involves certain amount of optimizations that might be done in order to increase your sales. Now, in good merchandising, you will always see an improved customer experiences, an increased conversion rate. You'll also see some additional boost to your average order value. Then you will reduce the decision fatigue of your customers because they're finding the products easily, right? And then you drive your revenue, of course, with all of the above strategies without running any discounts. You don't have to run an additional layer of discounts to sell your product. Rather, you sell your product at that price that you've determined without any promotions. Of course, promotions is very important, but good merchandising is something which will anyways enable sales of your product even without running discounts or any promotions. And then bad merchandising is something where you will confuse your customers or users, you hide your good products, and you lower your sale because of that and reduce the traffic towards your site, right? So this is how we see good merchandising and bad merchandising. We will again deep dive into this in the further lessons, but for now, keep this with you. Moving on, I've provided certain merchandising subsets that we might see, in the upcoming lessons as well. And to understand as an introductory aspect, we have 10 subsets, which is product merchandising, which involves what products you need to sell. In turn, involving the assortment planning, product mix, core versus new, size, color, depth, life cycle management. And then comes the site or digital merchandising, where how products are presented on the website and the app. So in that you will see the homepage modules, the category and PLP sorting, the search merchandising, the recommendations, the campaign placements, etc., right? And then you will see visual merchandising, which is used in both store and online, which involves majorly the look and feel of how you want to show your products or your brand, the imagery used, the banners used, the layout and spacing, the visual hierarchy, the color and design consistency, then badges and highlights, right? With this comes pricing merchandising, where you will determine how products are priced. Now this can be MRP versus selling price, using certain discount strategies to sell a product, or bundling them with multiple products or item types, and then indulging in psychological pricing, right? Now this comes with competitive analysis as well, where you will see what your competitors are doing and then also determine your price. And then comes promotional merchandising, which is solely on offers and promotions. Here you will include deals and discounts, seasonal sales, flash sales, coupons, etc. And then comes analytical or performance merchandising, where merchandising is purely based on data driven decisions, right? This will include KPIs that you will see or analyze, like conversion rate analysis, click through rates, doing A/B testing of different experiences, and then the funnel analysis slash to, from which platform, what was the customer journey, and all of those in depth data that you will see in terms of the conversions. Now then comes the category merchandising, where you will see a whole category as a brand, and then plan your merchandising strategy, where it will include the category strategy, the content strategy of that category, growth versus profitability, the brand mix that I use, the space allocation, like digital or physical, both of it depends on the strategy again. And then comes search and navigation merchandising, where you'll determine how users will find your products. Is it through organic search results or through the paid marketing strategies, which in turn talks more about the digital marketing strategies that we might use to sell your products. So this will include search rankings, synonyms used, filters, facets, keywords, zero result handling, all of it, right? And then comes the vendor or brand merchandising, where you will focus on brand partnerships, and then sponsored placements, launches, and then brand stories of how your brand is really showcased as part of the store or as part of the online space, right? And then finally comes the retail or store merchandising, which is the physical aspect of it, where you'll focus more on the physical store experiences, the shelf placement, the store layout, the planograms, and the in-store signages that might be used. Now all of these are individually vast concepts that there is a lot of energy and time and effort that goes into planning and executing all of this. But these are the important subsets that are used by different brands, knowingly or unknowingly, probably not determined very well, which is why I am doing this session to help you guys understand if you're interested in the merchandising, or maybe brands can leverage this information to understand how merchandising is done and how important it is for your business, and how you really convert your customers to really buy your products, right? Now what visual merchandising is, or what does it include? So visual merchandising can be seen in both physical stores and site. Now I've provided an additional slide here just to make, or provide an additional context or additional reassurance that this is what it includes. Where in physical retail, it includes window displays, mannequins, lighting and colors, product groupings, signages and promotions, store layout and flow. And in digital, it involves homepage banners, hero images, product image quality and angles, grid layouts and spacing, badges like new, bestseller, limited edition, color harmony and visual hierarchy, clean UI and UX consistency. Now all of this might have been seen by you folks or the brands, but probably not each of it might have been given an additional detail of understanding, or probably an effort might have not been made towards each of these items of visual merchandising, right? Which is why we need to understand all of these concepts in detail, and how it really impacts the customer's behavior towards a product, or a customer's perception of a particular product, right? So this is what I wanted to cover in my lesson 1. If you like this video, please do like, share and subscribe. And of course I will be doing multiple lessons in the future with probably in the future, I mean in the upcoming videos, where we will focus on multiple aspects of what we spoke about in lesson 1. Until then, stay tuned and happy learning.